भीम ऐप के जरिए ब्रॉडबैंड, केबल टीवी, डीटीएच, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल पेमेंट आसानी से किए जा सकते हैं। साथ ही गैस बिल का भुगतान या हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस भी किया जा सकता है। भीम ऐप से आप लैंडलाइन पोस्टपेड, जीवन बीमा, लोन पेमेंट, मोबाइल पोस्टपेड का पेमेंट भी कर सकते हैं। आपको किसी से पैसा मंगाना हो या किसी को भेजना हो तो वो भी आसानी से किया जा सकता है। तो देर किस बात की, अपने मोबाइल पे भीम ऐप डाउनलोड कीजिए और अपने नगद लेन देन की प्रक्रिया को आसान बनाइए।
Special and exclusive edition of Corona Warriors, which we bring to you from the premises of this Kasna jail. इस जेल की बात की जाए तो 1 लाख से भी ज्यादा मास्क अभी तक यहाँ पे मैन्युफैक्चर की गई है
और हम अपने आप को भी गर्व महसूस करते हैं कि हम आज देश के साथ खड़े हो पाए इस जरिए।
हमारा मास्क ये जो बन रहा है हमारे आदमी को बचाने के लिए काम आ जाएगा। प्रधानमंत्री जी के लिए जो लॉकडाउन किए हैं वो बहुत अच्छा किए हैं गरीबों को बचने के लिए।
The inmates and the jail officers and staff have really contributed in this endeavor and they virtually made it genuine.
30 मिनट तक बॉईल करते हैं, स्टरलाइज करते हैं। ये ऑटोक्लेव है।
At least 4 barracks which have been converted into quarantine wards here.
हमारे नए प्रिजनर्स आते हैं सैनिटाइज कराने के बाद इसी बैरक में आते हैं।
Namaskar and welcome to COVID-19 Doctors Speak. And while the number of COVID cases continues to rise, the rate of infection is linear, it's stable. Much has been achieved because of the lockdown. The virus has more or less been eliminated from nearly 100 districts in the country. As of yesterday, about 30 districts had no new COVID-19 cases in 28 days, and about 80 districts had reported no new cases in the last 14 days. So we need to continue with our good practices, abiding by the lockdown, maintaining adequate distance from one another when we go shopping for essentials, wearing a mask when we are outside for those essential purposes, and also most importantly, washing our hands frequently. So on Doctors Speak, as always, you can call in and ask your questions to our panel of medical experts on all health-related aspects, both of COVID-19 and the lockdown's impact on other health-related concerns. So our panelists will answer your queries and clear any of your doubts. Our phone numbers are on your screens right now, and we are open for the next 1 hour to listen to your queries. So you can also post your queries on DD News's live Facebook page and in reply to the pinned tweet on our Twitter handle, which is at DD News Live. So I better get ready for that as well. But let me introduce you to our guests. We have Dr. Naresh Gupta, consultant of medicine at the Maulana Azad Medical College. And Dr. Padma Srivastav is the head of the Department of Neurology at the All Institute of Medical Sciences. And we have Dr. Soumitra Rawat, senior surgeon, also joining us via Skype. We'll start with you, Dr. Padma Srivastav. So, we've been locked down for quite a long time, and while everyone has been focused on COVID, hospitals too have been dedicated now for COVID. People in the lockdown have got other illnesses which have been neglected to a large extent. People are dying of heart attacks at home. I mean, there are not too many. I don't have confirmed reports of too many, but I can presume that people are suffering for lack of medical attention. Is that a fair assessment to make?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Mark. In fact, you've raised an extremely pertinent question in this current times, because when you're looking at, say, I'm a neurologist, I'm a stroke person,
Yes.
so I know the stroke stats, So we have a stroke or a brain attack happening every 20 seconds in India.
Every 20 seconds. Oh.
Yes, and one stroke death every 2 minutes. These are the statistics of Indian Council of Medical Research from our own country.
Yes.
So what's happening to these people? So obviously not all strokes are major. There are a lot of them which are minor. So there is a general tendency for people when they have a minor ailment, there's a mild paralysis, you know, there is some sensory issue, some disbalance. They would say that maybe it will go away. It is mild. And they would avoid coming to a hospital for reasons more than one. They can't come to hospital because of transport issues, accessibility, availability. And even the risk factors which produce a heart attack or a brain attack, say it's a diabetes or a blood pressure,
Yes.
you need to be on those medicines. So what has been the control status? Who's been looking at them? Because our OPDs are shut. What about the availability of these medications? What about compliance? Because we're only talking about COVID and COVID and COVID.
Yes.
And when they have a major attack, what are the systems available to them to get, you know, redressal? So if they
Absolutely.
are, you know, are they able to come to a hospital? Now, a lot of hospitals are now COVID specific.
That's true.
And the rest of the hospitals are non-COVID, but then they're geared up towards the COVID. So a lot of healthcare personnel, infrastructure. So a lot of facilities have been geared towards that. So what are those algorithms of care?
Okay.
When a stroke patient comes, say for example, they have to undergo a CT scan immediately.
Yes.
So when a COVID suspect goes in, then they're worried unless the testing system is done. What if he turns out to be positive? Then I need to sanitize the place, and that many people will go on quarantine. So
Okay.
several questions keep coming up, and
Absolutely.
I think we don't have
Absolutely.
definite answers. We did come out with certain publications now, India-specific algorithms for stroke care.
Right.
Just got published.
Yes.
But I think this is an extremely important thing, and we need to
Okay.
gear up for this non-COVID issues
Absolutely.
as well.
We've got our first caller online. Bilal is calling in from Srinagar. Bilal, please अपना सवाल पूछिए.
सर ये कोरोना जो है ना सर,
जी हाँ, कोरोना.
हाँ ये हाथ के छूने से होता है और सबसे पहले सबसे किस अंग पे असर करता है?
आपकी आवाज साफ नहीं है. दोबारा पूछिए प्लीज. ओके.
सर मेरा सवाल है सर. हेलो,
हाँ प्लीज बिलाल, प्लीज आस्क योर क्वेश्चन.
मेरा क्वेश्चन है ये कोरोना जो है ना सर, तो ये हाथ के छूने से होता है,
हाथ से? हाथ या हार्ट?
मतलब हाथ के छूने, एक दूसरे को हाथ के छूने से होता है.
Huh? Okay, Dr. Gupta, I think he's basically talking about hands and you know how important
Yes.
it is the virus being transmitted through hands.
I think that's what I could make out. Bilal was trying to ask.
जी,
ये हाथ से छूने से
जी,
होता है कि
जी,
नहीं
जी,
होता
जी,
है?
जी.
बिलाल जी, इतने समय से ये ही बताया जा रहा है कि इसके 2-3 तरह के ट्रांसमिशन देखे जाते हैं, हो सकता है उनमें से एक ये छूने से भी होता है, और इसीलिए कहते हैं कि किसी को आपने छुआ या किसी और चीज को छुआ, उस व्यक्ति को जिसको कोविड है, कोरोना वायरस का इन्फेक्शन है, या कोई ऐसा सामान है जिसपे उसका वायरस पहुंच चुका है, वो आपके हाथ के द्वारा जब आप हाथ को कहीं ना कहीं लगाएंगे, मुंह पे लगाएंगे, आंख में लगाएंगे, सिर पे लगाएंगे, गर्दन में लगाएंगे, वहां से फिर ये वायरस अंदर जा सकता है और ये छूने से बिल्कुल जा सकता है. इसीलिए ये हिदायत दी जाती है कि आप अपने हाथ जो है साबुन पानी से साफ करते रहें. खास तौर से कोई भी एक्टिविटी करें उसके बाद तो बिल्कुल ही करें, और उसके अलावा अगर आप जरूरत समझे सैनिटाइजर का इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, और बाकी सबसे भी बचें जिससे कि ये इसको आप छूत मान सकते हैं उस तरह से. और ये भी ध्यान रखें कि बिना छूने से भी ये फैल सकता है. जैसे कोई खांसी करता है, छींकता है, तो उसमें जो ड्रॉपलेट्स आती हैं उसके द्वारा भी जा सकता है. इसीलिए कहा जाता है कि आप
जी.
अपना चेहरे को, नाक को, मुंह को ढक के रखिए फेस मास्क से. तो ये हो सकता है जैसे आपने पूछा है. तो
Siddharth from Bangalore is also on the line. Siddharth, please ask your question.
Good afternoon, sir.
Right.
And good afternoon to all the doctors over there.
Yes.
I have 3 questions. Number first, there was a statement coming up with the WHO chief, Tedros, stating that the worst has yet to come in India. Number two, adding to that statement, yesterday I saw a couple of virologists from America and from other countries. They say that we trace the vaccine. So we are very shortly, we are going to come up with the vaccine.
Okay.
And number three, the rumors are going on that only I run a startup company here in Bangalore. I have 40-50 people of my team who are into startup company. Is it a compulsory that COVID warrior only can donate plasma, or we as an individual citizen who are very healthy, we cannot donate the plasma? Is there something that the only warrior can donate the plasma? Back to you. Thank you.
Okay, right, Dr. Rawat, I'm sorry, Dr. Srivastava, would you like to answer that?
Yeah. So the first thing that he said is India going to have a peak in the coming few weeks or days or whatever it is? We hope not.
Okay.
So currently, as Mark, you said, all the stats that are pointing out towards, at least in certain geographic areas in the country, there has been a little bit of plateauing.
Yes.
And in fact, flattening, what they say is flattening the curve. Not across, of course, there are a lot of large metros, including Delhi, wherein this has not happened, but we're hopeful that it would happen. So maybe we will not. But yes, there have been lot of projections and lot of mathematical, equations done, and in various and varied ways.
Yes.
In the initial projections, they said we would have had by now millions of cases. It's not happened. So let's hope it doesn't happen. The second question that you had was the development of a vaccine.
Yeah.
Now, it is hopeful that there have been several pockets of evidence coming that by September, October this year, some people are hopeful that it will actually come. Now, we know that there are trials happening in even humans, in UK, in the US, and I don't know about China, and these reports keep coming from China.
Yes.
But then definitely in UK and the United States, in fact, even from Israel. So it is hopeful that probably we'll be hitting upon it sooner than later. Initially, they said 12 months to 18 months, probably it's sooner. The third is the, about plasma.
Therapy, yes.
Now, the plasma therapy, essentially, you're looking at a robust quantity of antibodies in a person who's been afflicted with this virus. Now, what are the antibodies? Antibodies are your own protection. That is, it's an armor that the body has developed to fight against. And you're using that armor, you're borrowing that armor in a sick patient. So obviously, that would be an infected person who has recovered. And it is said that 400 ml of plasma can easily be taken out from a person, and 200 ml per patient. So you can actually treat 2 patients. So it is essentially a person afflicted, asymptomatic or symptomatic, and has then been turned negative, who can donate this plasma.
Okay, we've got a question also which has come in via Skype. I'm sorry, via online, and it's let me address this to Dr. Rawat because we've not been able to address anything to him as yet. Dr. Rawat, if a person picks this virus off any surface onto his hands and reluctantly touches his eyes or mouth or nose, how quickly will the virus reach the respiratory zone? He means to say in this question, does it enter immediately, or does it take some time, or does it require many times touching of the nose for it to reach?
I think that is one of the reasons why we say even if you touch a surface, don't touch your face. And it's the mainly 3 things: that you should not touch your eyes, you should not touch your nose, and you should not touch your mouth, because it can go through the eyes, and through the nose it can go through the oral cavity, and through the mouth also it goes into the oral cavity. Normally what happens, it stays in the back of the mouth for a good few days, and then it goes into the respiratory tract. So the best thing is a precaution. Even if you have touched a surface unknowingly, then the most important thing is washing your hands straight away. That is why everyone, including our Prime Minister, is keep on emphasizing that you need to clean your hand regularly. As soon as you touch something, you need to clean your hand. Yes,
so that's great. So I hope he's got this clear. But Dr. Gupta, you know, the question also talks about the speed with which it can reach the respiratory tract. I mean, is that something of a concern? Because, you know, we have cases where perhaps, you know, the person may luckily not be infected immediately. Is that something that, you know, does
Yes.
it depend on what?
I think one of the notions that we need to set right, it is not that the virus gets into the oral cavity or into the throat or into the lungs and there goes the disease. It just attacks. No. Nature has not made our body so weak.
Okay.
In fact, there is a very strong defense mechanism. Even when the virus wants to get into the body, it is not allowed to enter. It needs kind of a pass. It needs kind of a passport.
Mm-hmm.
And unless it has it, that is verified at the entry level into the lungs. So it is not that virus comes in and everybody gets attacked like that. And that's why we speak of good diet, good nutrition, good exercise, good immunity.
Okay.
Because that will ensure that this virus, even if it gets down the respiratory tract within hours, it will not be able to gain entry into the system. And if it cannot gain entry into the system, it cannot cause a disease.
Yes.
After it gets entry into the system, it needs to generate an army of its own. One virus cannot cause so much of damage. So silently it sits and creates an army, which can be let loose into the body, into the lungs, into the airways, into the other systems, and that can take a week or even more. So that is the time when they show up.
We have a caller, Nalini, who's calling in from Delhi. Nalini, aap apna sawal puchiye, please.
Yes, my question is
Yes,
that,
go ahead.
you know, as senior citizens,
Yes.
we cannot do our whole household work completely, you know.
Yes.
So we need to take the help of the part-timer maids. So in that case, what precautions shall we be taking up with the maids so that, you know, we don't get infected or something?
Right, Dr. Srivastav, right now, of course, maids are not allowed to be coming, but maybe she's lucky to have a maid who is probably capable of working with her.
Right. So when you have someone coming from outside to your house, one, you please tell the person that the movement of that person would be from her house to your house and your house to her house. So that as far as possible, that person is not allowed to then roam around and go to another house, another community,
Yes, yes.
etc. That's one. Look whether that person is actually coming from any containment or any hot zones. If it's any red zone or an orange zone, don't let her come in. Number 3, she wears a mask, you wear a mask when she is around. Number 4, whenever they come in, they definitely wash their hands and face and feet, come in with the mask, do everything. Wherever it is extra cautions required, wear gloves. If they're bringing in stuff, like if you're alone and there are people bringing in groceries for you, now those groceries stay outside, discard those bags, get those groceries into an area wherein they can be cleaned and then brought into the house where you can store them. Make that into a policy, whatever comes from outside. And if they are coughing, sneezing, even remotely, don't let them come in. So these are very simple precautions, and I think you will be safe.
Dr. Rawat, let's talk about other illnesses also during this lockdown time. You know, let's take people who are who need to go for exercise, for instance. Now they've not been able to exercise for the last 1 month, and perhaps they are dying to go for their walks. Would you know, the doctor community now say that perhaps social distancing norms should be maintained? They should wear masks and perhaps do their exercise. Otherwise, they are getting sicker and sicker. In terms of you know, they may, as Dr. Srivastav was saying right at the beginning, you know, they may end up getting strokes or even heart attacks.
I think a lot of people, they are doing exercises at home. Like, you know, I do exercise.
But is it possible to do a proper exercise at home? I mean, if you have a small home, if you're limited to a very small area. Yes.
I think what you need to do is you need to modify your exercises. Like I used to go to gym before,
Right.
but what I'm doing now is I'm doing a skipping and I'm doing all the stretching exercises. Or the other thing is that, you know, you can just go around your house, make sure that you maintain a good social distance. It depends on what zone exactly you are. So you need to follow the rule of that particular area, and you need to do it accordingly.
So doctors are still not advising people to go out and take walks. That's not, but actually, you know, people are already doing that in some form or the other. They are not, I mean, they're maintaining social distance, but perhaps within limited areas, within their colonies. Dr. Gupta, what would you think? I mean, that's not a safe thing, you would say?
No, I don't think things which are not proven safe, we should adopt to them. Let me tell you something about walking and running. Persons are doing it. But if we speak of a distance of 2 meters to be maintained for physical social distancing, then when somebody is running, that droplet goes out many more meters. It can go up to 8 to 10 meters.
Yes, okay.
So if I am running there, the air behind me is containing all the droplets of my breathing. We don't know the details because we have not faced this kind of a thing earlier. So it's very kind of a uncertain if you indulge into that. But this also has to be balanced against what you said.
Yes.
The exercise is not being done. We don't have COVID alone. We also have many other diseases. Look at diabetes.
Yes.
We speak of India becoming has become the capital of diabetes mellitus.
Right.
We have how many? 80 million cases.
Okay.
Now they need exercise. Heart disease patients need exercise. Blood pressure needs exercise. Everybody needs exercise. In diabetes, it is also said that the number that is increasing, what we say pre-diabetes, that comes from few factors, which are some of them are not controllable. Like if you have a family history, it's not controllable. Age is not controllable. Gestational is not controllable. Two factors are controllable. One is you don't do exercise 3 times in a week. Or the second is you are overweight. Now both these can be tackled only with exercise and some nutrition.
Okay.
And traditionally, Indian society is very fond of doing these exercises first thing in the morning, fresh air, outside, on the grass. So there are a lot of issues that are cropping up, and persons can accept it for initial few days or few weeks, because that is the time when mind and heart, they come up with what we call a stress response. So there are these hormones that come up, they increase the stamina and the strength. But when it tends to become chronic, the same thing becomes derogatory to the human health. They become more immune, their immunity goes down, they catch more infections.
So
they
what
get
would you
more
advise
attacks.
people like that to do now? I mean, because they've been at home now for 30 plus days.
I think we got to think about it, because there are many issues. We should not think that around COVID, there is no other health issue. Let me tell you, we speak of tuberculosis, for example, which hopefully will get controlled with the COVID measures.
With all these measures, yes.
But 1,400 persons die from tuberculosis every day.
Yes.
And tuberculosis was such a big menace that our Prime Minister himself took the lead, and he came up with a program more than a year back. And I thought we'll be able to control it. He said we'll control it before the WHO wants it, 2025.
Yes.
Now what has happened in the process? The last 2 weeks of February, it's a notifiable disease. The notified cases were more than 1 lakh, 1,14,000 something.
Okay.
And the 2 weeks of April, it was 19,000.
Amazing. So it's come down considerably as a result of the lockdown. So
yes, so the treatment of these diabetes, tuberculosis, infections, exercise, nutrition, everything.
We have to check the figures for diabetes, whether it goes up. We don't have those figures right now, but the lockdown may have had an adverse effect on that. But Hussain is on the phone line from Srinagar. Hussain, would you like to ask your question? Please, आप अपना सवाल पूछिए.
हेलो.
जी, पूछिए सर.
सर्वर बोल रहा हूँ श्रीनगर कश्मीर से.
हाँ जी.
हाँ जी, इस वक्त पूरे विश्व के अंदर कोविड-19 का मसला जो छाया हुआ है, आप सुन रहे हैं?
जी, हम सुन रहे हैं, आप पूछिए.
हाँ, वो तो हम मान लेते हैं, उसके जो प्रकाशन है, उसके जो गाइडलाइन है गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट की तरफ से, उसको हम मान लेते हैं सर. इस हवाले से मेरी एक रिक्वेस्ट है, कश्मीर के अंदर जब कोई मतलब गायनिकोलॉजिस्ट हो या कार्डियोलॉजी के डिपार्टमेंट में हम कंसल्ट करना चाहते हैं, या ब्लड प्रेशर के लिए जाना चाहते हैं या डायबिटीज के लिए जाना चाहते हैं, जो माने जाते हैं कि जानलेवा डिजीज है. मगर इस वक्त कश्मीर के अंदर क्या है कि बहुत सारे जगहों पर डॉक्टर साहिबान कहते हैं कि अभी मत आओ. मैं डॉक्टर साहिबान से गुजारिश करता हूं कि वो हमारे कश्मीर के अंदर डॉक्टर साहिबान को ये मशवरा दे जो सही हो. मुझे लगता है सही मशवरा ये है कि वो इन पेशेंट्स को भी देखें. क्या वो सही कहते हैं कि यहाँ मत आओ?
ठीक है,
So,
डॉक्टर श्रीवास्तव जी,
बिल्कुल सही सवाल आपने पूछा है कि हर मरीज कोविड नहीं हो सकता। दूसरी चीज है कि ये कोविड के जरिए इतने ये जो फियर हो गया, एक पैरानॉइड रिएक्शन बन गए, वो नहीं होना चाहिए। तो हर मरीज को हम इस तरह नहीं देख सकते कि ये हो सकता है कोविड हो। पैंडेमिक में इट इज ट्रू कि कोविड हो सकता है। जिसको कोविड है, आपको पता है कि 80% तो एसिम्टोमेटिक होता है, मतलब बहुत माइल्ड होती है। और वो लोग जो है, हार्ट अटैक भी हो सकती है, स्ट्रोक भी हो सकता है, उनका डिलीवरी भी होना चाहिए, उनको कैंसर भी हो चुका हो सकता है कि वो उनकी ट्रीटमेंट चल रहा होगा। ये मतलब नहीं हुआ कि वो अगर टेस्ट पॉजिटिव आ गया, वो एसिम्टोमेटिक है तो उनको नहीं छूना, ये नहीं हो सकता। इसीलिए हर बीमारी के लिए अपने अपने एल्गोरिदम्स बन गई है। जैसे कोई हार्ट अटैक से हुआ आ गया तो उनको कैसे देखभाल करना है। हालांकि हेल्थ केयर वर्कर्स मतलब डॉक्टर्स भी प्रोटेक्टेड रहे, मरीज का भी सही इलाज हो। इसीलिए डिलीवरीज, गायनेकोलॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम्स, किसी का कैंसर है, जैसे हमारे हॉस्पिटल में तो जो कीमोथेरेपी वो अभी भी चल रहा है। और हमारा जो न्यूरोलॉजी का ओपीडी टेली मेडिसिन मतलब टेली ओपीडी कहते हैं हम, तो हमारे सारा फॉलो मरीज जो है हम खुद उनको फोन करते हैं, उनकी हालचाल पूछ के हम बताते हैं। और इसकी लीगल सैंक्शन भी है और एमसीए अपना गाइडलाइंस भी अभी चेंज कर दिए हैं। और अभी धीरे धीरे नॉर्मल ओपीडी, सर्जरीज और ये सारा इमरजेंसीज अभी भी हो रहा है। तो ये मैसेज जाना चाहिए पब्लिक को भी और हमारे सारा जो डॉक्टर कम्युनिटी को भी कि ये नॉन कोविड प्रॉब्लम्स भी चल रही है, उनको हम बिल्कुल निगलेक्ट नहीं कर सकते हैं। और आपके सवाल बहुत अच्छी है कि ये ऐसा नहीं है कि हर मरीज कोविड ही हो सकता है और बाकी चीजें हम भूल जाए, कभी नहीं हो सकता है।
Right, Dr. Rawat, let's talk about the post-COVID scenario now, because things are opening up, so there is a fear that perhaps the virus can pick up pace in a sense. But we have managed to restrict the virus like firefighting only to those certain areas, and those hotspots are being looked at very closely, and activity has been allowed in certain areas where there has been no virus for a long time. So what would you think? I mean, how is the medical fraternity geared up for this post-lockdown situation?
I think we need to preserve the essential functions in the hospital, as my colleague from AIIMS has also mentioned.
Yes.
I think all the good hospitals, they have made the plan. Like I work as a chairman and head of surgical gastroenterology at Ganga Ram Hospital.
Yes.
And we have all the departments in Ganga Ram, we have made a SOP during the COVID. So that the most important thing is preserve the essential function, prioritize, identify the critical illness and implementation, which is very important. And she has already mentioned about that you can, do the clinic through the web. That is called as a telemedicine. That is what we are also doing in Gangaram.
Right.
We are doing the telemedicine so that any patient who is contacting us, we are guiding them.
Yes.
And in last one week, I have already operated 2 patients.
Okay.
One was a patient of cancer, another had an obstruction. So
Okay.
the essential services should not be stopped.
Absolutely
Should not be stopped.
true. But doctor,
then-
are there limitations with which doctors have to operate since the patient is locked down? You talked about telemedicine. What kind of prescriptions, what kind of advice can doctors give, knowing that the patient can't move out of the house in a sense, and perhaps there are also limitations with what kind of medicines they can access?
No, but then what happened that whatsoever prescription we write, that is
Yes.
valid, that's number one.
Yes.
And then what happened that, any test which they have got it done locally, they can send it through us, and then we have a look, and then we have a talk about it. And then the important thing is we prioritize their disease. If it is absolutely mild, can wait, we advise them not to travel. But something which is like a cancer
Yes.
and which is causing symptom like cancer which is bleeding, cancer which is causing a obstruction,
Yes.
then obviously you need to prioritize and you need to do it soon.
Fair enough.
And obviously,
yes.
obviously, all the major hospital, they have set up they have implemented the guideline that even the doctors, while operating,
Yes.
they are taking care of everything, like social distance measure is there, hand
Absolutely.
hygiene is there.
I think that goes without
physical
saying.
barrier is there.
Yes.
And
The
then
doctors are
PPE
taking
is
all the
there.
precautions. Absolutely.
And-
We have a caller, Dr. Rawat, so let's not keep her waiting.
sure.
Kiran, I think, is the caller on the phone line from Delhi. Kiran, आप अपना सवाल पूछिए.
Yes, hi.
Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask the lady doctor who has just explained about to the old lady about the part-time maids who are coming to
Yes.
home. I just want to understand. उन्होंने बताया कि वो घर में आएं और मास्क पहने और हाथ धोएं. मुझे ये समझना है कि क्या हर रोज नया मास्क यूज करना पड़ेगा उनके लिए भी और अपने लिए भी, और क्या ग्लव्स भी जरूरी हैं हर चीज के लिए. तो ये क्या रेगुलर एवरीडे चेंजेस रहेंगे फॉर हाउ लॉन्ग? Because this is very important. I have a lot of old people at my place, so I need to really take care.
You're right. Well, I think it's a very relevant question. Let me come actually according to what the guidelines say. The persistence of the virus or the viral load जो होता है. Now, you have heard about the droplets in the air. You also heard about these staying on certain surfaces. Steel, plastic, copper, cardboard and paper. Now it seems that yes, droplets are there for few hours, and also the distance according to certain new projections which are coming, we are getting these evidences which are changing by the hour. And you know that on the steel, plastic, they can be there for some days, and the cardboard maybe also a couple of days. But on paper, especially the newspaper and others, it's negligible. So there are issues here. Don't think that everything is staying forever. So that's the steel knobs or whatever you clean with an antiseptic. Just like if you have a person who's tested positive and is home quarantined, then whenever that person is there and he's using certain facilities, he's cleaning with an antiseptic, household antiseptic. The mask is a household mask. You're not changing every day. You're washing and reusing it. So that is what is actually being practiced. You don't need a surgical triple layer mask or an N95. You don't need that at home. Neither for your mate nor for you. You can just reuse the mask, wash and reuse. The antiseptic simple is soap and water. And of course you can have another antiseptic, you afford it, you can use that too. Gloves, you're not using sterile gloves. You're using actually sometimes washable gloves. It is essential that things coming from outside, especially if you're coming from an area which is really crowded, there are, a lot of times you're ordering stuff and the person who's bringing in, you don't know who the person is and that person is moving around. That is the reason that you're washing and bringing in stuff and you're discarding those plastic things outside. And keep one shopping bag outside, don't get the shopping bag in. But otherwise, the other important things are that you make sure that the person is not coming from a red zone or an orange zone. That is important. Make sure the person is not symptomatic in any way, including a red eye. That should keep you safe.
Okay, Dr. Gupta, we're getting a lot of questions now that are coming in via Twitter. So this question is that if majority of the people are asymptomatic, he mentions 80%, maybe about 70, 60% are asymptomatic, then how can we identify them? What precautions should we take to avoid when we don't know anybody who is carrying it?
That's a very, very valid issue.
Yes.
So I think the public needs to know what happens if 80% are asymptomatic. So first thing is the research has very clearly shown that the viral load in the throat of the persons who are asymptomatic is of the same degree as that of a symptomatic person, which means his potential to spread the infection always remains. And that is why we always advise something that medical science has got it inbuilt for several decades. We call it universal precautions.
Yes.
Universal precautions assume that the other person is could be symptomatic, could be infected. And that's why whenever you are interacting with anyone, whether you are buying the vegetable, whether it is a maid, whether it is a metro, whether it is a bus, if you go with the idea that could be, you would be more geared to take those precautions.
Yes.
At the same time, Government of India has come up with a lot of these good activities for containing it, and we have been very successful thanks to these measures. There is also another app called the Arogya Setu.
Yes.
Now that can tell you what kind of a zone are you in. You can have that kind of a app. Your persons who you are interacting with can have that kind of a app. I also understand it is already being thought about that once they start loosening up the lockdown, they would ask everybody to have this Setu app.
That's
so that
right.
you know. So I think asymptomatic is there, but don't think asymptomatic. One more point I need to drill is a person who is asymptomatic from a coronavirus infection, it is not necessary that the infection he will spread would also be asymptomatic. That could be life-threatening.
Sure.
So who will be life-threatening, who will be asymptomatic is determined by factors which are too many and we don't understand. So always keep in mind that asymptomatic can be life-threatening for another one.
Dr. Rawat, you can take the next question. This is about how we trace vulnerable people. I guess the Arogya Setu app can help in that. But during a lockdown, how does one trace people who are vulnerable? Do you need to have contact tracing, people going around? The government should be taking an initiative to see, because people are not sure, they may not even be reporting even during the lockdown.
I think that is what they did it in Bhilwara as well. In Bhilwara, when the number became more, they started doing the contact tracing and they started looking for all the patients which have come in contact so as to break the chain. Breaking the chain is important. Unless and until we don't break the chain, the virus will continue. What our government has said that if we wouldn't have done a lockdown, we would have had at least 8 lakh cases if we didn't have a lockdown. So that is what we are doing, is breaking the chain, so that the graph which is otherwise would have gone steeper, we are trying to flatten the graph. And that is what is happening. The doubling time, initially it was 3 days, then it was 5 days, 7 days, and is going towards 10 days now. So as long as we could flatten the curve, that means the number of patients infected with corona here in India, they will be less.
Right. I guess the concern is that, people live in large communities in apartment buildings where, there are so many families living, and the chances, even if 1 or 2 people get infected, the chances of, them coming in touch or the virus being around is the kind of concern. So they are talking about checking vulnerable people. How's, if nobody is reporting, how does one actually know? That's what the concern is.
I think in that case, obviously, if somebody is living alone, then obviously, those kind of people needs to be looked after. But if they are living in a group like, 2 people, 4 people or 6 people living in a house, then obviously, you would know if anybody is having a symptom, you would know.
Right.
And that is the reason why the lockdown is, suppose if one person is there out of 4, so he can only infect those people when he is not going out. And that is the reason I think although, my personal thing is don't have any maid coming into your house, because if you are doing the work, you are improving your immunity. Don't let anyone else coming into your house in this sensitive period.
Okay. Dr. Srivastav, the unusual kind of question, it talks about how village people not apparently that dangerous. They're not spreading the virus. They're wearing gamchas, and may not even be maintaining social distance. And we people are being forced to wear masks, etc. It's a kind of an odd question, but is there a difference between the two, masks and gamchas?
Well, gamchas and masks, I don't know. So I can't talk of what I don't have an evidence. But this aspect, that a purely rural background of communities who have not traveled beyond certain areas. You look at the world as such. Take US, take Europe, take India. In India, in our own country, you have these large metros which have actually these cases which are very, very high. Interiors and small towns, small villages, probably no. Now the virus has actually traveled in. So you actually got this with people coming from outside into India. So those were the educated, you know, the higher socioeconomic who were actually doing the international air travel. And then the spread and then of course the contact spread and so on and so forth. So wherever there are industries, wherever there is a large populations, wherever there are these kind of metropolitan cities, whether it is in India or across the world, have actually borne the brunt. And then of course a containment, and then when it was done, and you know, lockdowns and all, and then the local participation. But yes, community participation probably helps a lot in containing this. Now why are the villages spared? I'm so happy that they are spared as it is, but probably it's because the travel has not gone there. Now we don't know whether if these communities go there, what would happen. At this point of time, I think it is no travel from abroad, and nothing which is carried in is probably helped them. And then of course there are questions about our immunity, the BCG vaccination, and us being Indians, and so many other theories for which we don't have an evidence to really talk about.
We can't give a scientific explanation to that. Dr. Gupta, there's a follow-up question to something you had said actually. The person asks 1% H2O2, that's the hydrogen peroxide, and 0.2% povidone rinsing should help after returning from outside. Now you've said that the virus stays in the back of the oral cavity for a few days. Will it be effective enough to prevent the disease from infecting the upper respiratory tract? You were saying something about it being taking some time to travel.
No, I think Dr. Rawat was saying it stays there for 3 days.
It's Dr. Rawat who said that, okay. Well, Dr. Rawat, then perhaps you can answer that, sir.
I think what some of the scientists are saying, that, you know, it goes to the back of the throat.
Yes.
And that is the reason why people are saying have a hot drink every 2-3 hours. And then also, if you are gargling also regularly, that also helps. And the steam also helps.
Okay.
Can I actually come in a
Yeah,
little
go
bit
ahead,
here?
go ahead.
Especially for us in India, it is actually, you know, even Ministry of Health has brought out this Ayush draft.
Yes, yes.
As such, and it's very simple, it's very practical, and I don't think we need to search for a randomized controlled trial to prove this, that when you are taking water, take warm water, you boil ginger and put tulsi, and you know, you take this golden milk with haldi morning and evening, and build up your immunity. Very, very simple. Increase your protein, not a bunch of vitamins. I mean, take protein and, you know, simple yoga, you know, these breathing exercises. I think this is something which is pretty acceptable. And even for our elderly, when you give them a chai with tulsi and ginger, and you're giving this golden milk, it actually is pretty palatable, and it goes down well whether it's a very young or very old. I think these are simple things that we can employ, and we don't need great evidence to prove for and against this.
Okay. Dr. Gupta, this is a question about disposal of masks. Now, the persons are concerned that, you know, bad disposal of masks, and people are not sure, you know, they're just disposing the mask in one particular place. But from there, it goes into something that can actually come later back into the food chain. And so they're concerned about how we dispose of the masks and how it can actually. So what's the best way?
See, first thing is the mask that we need, we must be very clear what kind of mask we are using. There is something called N95 or N99 and 98 masks. which means that they clear off the particulate matter of 2.5 micron out. Now the virus, coronavirus, is much smaller, right? But it is more airtight, these ones. It probably restricts it to 50% containment. The other masks are equally good, that has been found, because the N95 is very difficult to put on for long times. So if it is a other mask or a face mask that you have created, you can always boil it. Coronavirus gets killed at 65 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
So any mask that you have done yourself, built it yourself, stitched it yourself, and is out of cotton which can be bought, you can do it. There are many that are coming up that are also sanitizable, that one can do. But if one has to dispose of the mask, remember, if somebody is coughing and it can contain coronavirus, in fact, why coronavirus, it can contain other virus or other bacteria also.
Right.
So that has to be disposed of properly. One should not throw it just on the left side or the right side, and it must go off properly. In hospital, we have a system because it goes under the biomedical waste management regulations. And in home, if you have to dispose it, please make sure the simplest you can do is, if it is not, you cannot boil it, you just put it in a packet, leave it out in a covered area for a couple of days. Once it is few days there, then you throw it into the dustbin.
Right. So Dr. Srivastava, the next question, all these questions are coming in on Facebook and on Twitter. So this question is about after, the lockdown was suddenly imposed upon us, according to this person. So there are places which were all locked down, which were not cleaned, not looked after. Now they are going to be opened up, and what's going to be the state of them? Are they going to be, full of viruses and bacteria, and what? So that's the concern. In a sense, I mean, we are going to raise our level of hygiene altogether, in a way.
Actually, I think, this has been an unprecedented something which has never been seen in 2 generations since, I think, the Spanish flu in 1920.
Yes.
So this is a learning curve for everybody who's living in the current times. So yes, we will be learning. When you're talking about hygiene, it's always been there. And what's been actually thought of now is from containment zones to now what is called as a mitigation phase. So at some point of time, probably, you're going to live with the virus. So everybody's prediction is that this is not going to go away. It may come down. It may affect in such a way that everybody becomes immune to a certain extent. Like we've had H1N1 before. And there are these vaccines which have been developed. But the vaccine will have to be changed every single year because the strain mutates. So we have another corona, which probably at one point we'll have a vaccination and it will also start mutating. It's said that it's already mutated 30 times by now. But what we are going to see is a new normal. So the new normal, wherein the social distancing, the hygiene practices will probably part of our lives. So once we have, as you rightly pointed out, because of whatever reason, the lockdown where it has these hygiene measures which are compromised, we'll have to deal with it. And if not just the infections, we are also talking about the non-infections things which may also come out in a big way now once we shift our focus beyond COVID, once we hit this new normal stage. There are concerns, and I think we're all gearing up towards it.
Dr. Rawat, would you like to talk about how we have to coexist with the virus? Because, at the end of the day, that's going to be what is going to happen. And we have to all perhaps raise our immunity levels or develop a herd immunity. That's the ultimate solution. But in the current time, in the current phase that we are in, what should we be doing?
I think it's multifactorial, and the preventing getting the virus into your body is the prevention, that you need to wash your hands regularly and avoid contacting the people who have it. And at the same time, you need to increase your immunity. Immunity is very important, and my colleague has already spoken about it, and she has mentioned it very well, how to improve your immunity. And to improve the immunity, you need to add few other things like, have some dry fruits, and they also talk about other vegetables and fruits which can improve the immunity. Ginger has been talked about, citrus fruit has been already been talked. And then obviously we need to coexist together. Obviously once the vaccine is made, that will be the changing point.
Yes.
That will be the changing point. And as been mentioned, there is quite a work which is being taken up in UK, Germany, China, and America. The Oxford vaccine, it's already been started producing in 7 countries, 3 in UK, 2 in Europe, India, and China. So while they are doing the phase 3 trial, so if the phase 3 trial is good, then it doesn't take more time to make the vaccine. Vaccine will be ready to deliver.
Okay, but Dr. Gupta, what would you like to say about this vaccine if Dr. Srivastav says that, the virus is already mutated about 30 times? We already know that there are 3 already important strains of this virus, right? Yeah. And we can see that, so is the vaccine, though of course ICMR has said in this press conference that they're more or less the same, and the vaccine should work, if any vaccine should work on all the strains that are available right now.
Yeah, coronavirus we have known for many years, six decades at least, and we know it has this property of what we call genetic drifting, which means minor changes, genetic changes keep coming up. Major ones come once in a while. It has come for the 3rd time with this COVID-19. These minor changes might have an impact, may not have impact. To give you an example, we have the influenza vaccine for many years. They keep having the same genetic drifting, and that's why the vaccine which comes in the new year contains those strains, incorporates those changes which have been there. Now we don't know whether the vaccine that is done would be effective against the newer drifted strains also or not.
Okay.
If it is, we don't need to change. Minor changes shouldn't be a problem. But Mark, I would like to also highlight one more thing before leave.
Go ahead, sir.
You were talking about this garbage being everywhere, unhygienic conditions being there. But more important, equally important, is the fact that with summer times, we face many more health problems. We have all talked about COVID and emergency. When it comes to the routine, the infectious and non-infectious diseases, particularly the infections, they would tend to go up when the summer comes in, whether it is bacterial or viral.
Okay.
So one has to be very careful that once we come out from there, we cannot assume that we have taken such good measures and those routine infections would not come. We have to be careful for that also.
This is an important statement, because people were under the impression that the summer is going to take away the virus, but you say that we are prone to have many more viruses. Kavita from Ghaziabad is on the phone line. Kavita, aap apna sawal puchiye.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
So my question is that as we are seeing the asymptomatic persons in large proportion as compared to the earlier one,
yes.
So can we conclude that the virulence power is decreasing? And if it's so, we can say that it could be decreased day by day and it could come to nil?
Dr. Srivastav, is the power of the virus coming down?
I hope so, but that's not the evidence we have. You see, when we're talking about asymptomatic, the thing is that there are more tests being performed now. So when you're actually performing tests of contacts, see, when that's how it's happened. Like you have an index case, the index case has come in contact with, say, 40 people. They test those 40 people depending upon, they grade the risk. Very low risk, they don't test. You have a moderate to high risk, they test. And there's a way to know what kind of a risk you have. And then they found that these people are positive, but they have no symptoms. So the asymptomatic lot has been discovered when you're doing these tests. When you don't do tests, you won't even know, isn't it? So it's not that there were none before and now we have 80% asymptomatic. It is because the tests are being performed, you are actually mapping out the contacts, that you're realizing that there's a whole lot of asymptomatic individuals. And this is true. In fact, there's a last report which has even come from the US, where they've seen when they did this antibody testing. There's one called antigen testing, which is actually looking at the fresh infection. The antibodies are IgG, IgM, they are those things which come up when you have been infected, but you have now sort of recovered or recovering. And when they did that test in US, they found almost to the extent of 14.some%, that is 2.7 million people.
Okay.
So accordingly, the mortality rate now they're saying is low. So you have these asymptomatic individuals because you're more testing.
Right. In fact, we had got more questions on asymptomatic, and I hope they've been answered by Dr. Srivastav and that. But there are two questions regarding the post-lockdown. Maybe we can take them up. Dr. Rawat, you can answer one, and Dr. Gupta can answer the other. The lockdown, after that, we are going to have buses and trains and everything starting. How are we going to, you know, stop the spread of the virus when we have to coexist? So, I mean, social distancing in these kind of traveling, is it going to be possible?
I think social distancing is going to be always important.
Okay.
Like when the H1N1 virus was there, at the time I was working as a consultant in UK, and I still remember that, you know, we were putting a mask, doing the social distancing, and it carried on for a good few months.
Yes.
So I think the same thing is going to happen now, that obviously you will try to minimize the risk exposure, prevent the virus being spread around, wash your hands, increase your immunity, and don't make irrelevant travel plan. Only go if it is really essential.
Absolutely. Fine. The last question is to you, Dr. Gupta. You know, I mean, people say we can't live without haircuts for so long. I mean, when are we going to start opening the saloons, and why don't we have some? Last question.
I think it's a very valid question. Let me, you know, and it should be opening up soon.
Okay.
But one has to balance, and we are getting into better habits in near future. So I think one of the habits we need to learn is when you have long hair, how to keep them clean and free from infections. So, I mean, that is on a lighter note, but we need to. In fact, let me tell you, we also have to open up these because our patients who have routine problems also face this transport problem. But hair salons can be in the neighborhood. The only problem is most of the virus, coronavirus that spreads, it spreads from clusters, close clusters. And that is must be understood. So wherever there is a close cluster of people, there the risk will go up very high. And that's probably the reason why the open rural areas don't have so much as in crowded urban areas.
Yes.
And these salons and gyms also have to be considered as one of the potential clusters. Wait for more couple of weeks.
We'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much, Drs. Naresh Gupta, Dr. Padma Srivastav, and Dr. Soumitra Rawat. You've really enlightened us with this 1 hour. And thank you very much for your calls and for the questions that you've asked. They've helped us all, you know, understand this virus a lot more and the situation that it has created, and helped us to cope and adapt much better. Thank you very much. Please keep watching between 2 and 3 every day as we do this program only for you. Namaskar.
दुनिया में कई काम बड़े मुश्किल है, जैसे कि चंद मिनटों में चांद पर पहुंचना, टूथपेस्ट में पेस्ट को वापस डालना। और भैया एक काम है जो है बेहद आसान। अरे भाई वही आधार कार्ड में अपना एड्रेस अपडेट करना। इसके लिए बस आपको UIDAI की वेबसाइट पे जाना है, अपना आधार नंबर डालकर OTP जनरेट करना है, फिर फॉर्म में OTP डालकर अपडेट एड्रेस कर कंफर्म करना है, और लो हो गया आपका आधार एड्रेस अपडेट। आप भी आधार अपना लो, फायदे में रहोगे।
Today we will be meeting and interacting with those who form the